49ers Ultimate Report. This is John Jay, your 49ers reporter, opinionist, analyst, and die-hard fan. Today, we have a very, very special episode. We're going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks and 49ers game, the post-game reaction. But I had a last-second guest that wanted to hop on. We've been trying to do a show for quite some time. Our schedules have always been busy. You guys already know him. It's Big Mac Sports, man. How you doing?
What's up? What's up? Good to be on, John Jay.
Yep.
It's been a while, but yeah, like you said, with scheduling and everything, with work and stuff, we're not like those big channels, so we got to work still. But anyways, it's
Yeah.
gonna be this is a great time to get back into it. The holidays are coming up, but there's gonna be a lot of football, especially coming up next week. I cannot wait to see that game, and hopefully everybody stays healthy.
Facts. Yeah. We're gonna talk a lot of stuff today. We're gonna talk about the game. I always do a recap show after the next day after that. Yesterday, I spent more time with the family, Thanksgiving, and now we're gonna be talking about the game, and of course we will be also talking about that game everyone's been talking about all off season and this season, the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we jump in, I want to say hello to the chat, and we have a lot of great people in the chat. We got Laura in the chat. He has some questions. I also want to say what's up to Tommy Huxley. He's in the chat. We got Carcast, and we also have Bebop Jones. So Laura has some questions. Every time he has a lot of questions. He always wants to know, how can Brock clean up his interceptions? And I don't know if you remember that interception. I want to get your thoughts on that interception. What did you think Brock Purdy saw when he made that mistake?
I just went back and watched the game a couple of times just from clips and stuff. But that I think he threw it a little bit late. But I always go back to the offensive line. It seemed like he had to hurry that throw, which sometimes I think throwing the ball away is a lot better than getting an interception and a pick six. So if he knew that, felt that pressure coming in, because there was pressure. I mean, give it to the Seahawks, man. They had some pressure in that game. But Brock Purdy, he played really well, and that throw was a little late. And I think what he saw was the pressure coming in, and I think he should have just threw it away. That's my opinion. Should have just threw that ball away.
Yeah, like when I saw it, a lot of people said the ball was tipped. I did not see any player, none on our offensive line or their defensive line. What I did see was, I think it was Christian McCaffrey who was doing a running route, but there was two players in his area, and then there was the linebacker that basically stayed back and got the interception, took it in for the touchdown. And when the pocket starts to break down, of course, and we're going to talk about the next question of Lore, but when a quarterback has to get the ball out quickly and has to get that ball out fast, that's when the mistakes happen. And again, no one likes to take sacks. We were like pinned back when we started that drive, so you did not want to take a sack down there. So for him, he thought if he can get the ball quick to McCaffrey, but I think McCaffrey overran the pass. Maybe you said it was too late, so maybe like he liked the route and he was trying to get the ball through the needle, and unfortunately that didn't happen.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, there was 3 pass plays, right? That was called by Kyle. If you're backed up in the end zone, we do have a running back that can get us up more. I mean, that would have been a good call to have Mason come in and get us up more, or give it to Kyle Juszczyk. But I mean, I kind of questioned the play calling on that situation, because we were backed up against the end zone right there, and 3 plays of throwing it. Of course, they're going to key on that, but I think I just think that Kyle could have called some other different plays, but Brock being Brock, he's not and I hate when people use him as a system quarterback because he's not. He's not a system quarterback. System quarterbacks do not throw the type of balls that Brock Purdy throws.
Mhm,
So right there, I just thought, man, hey, get some yardage. Hand the ball off on 1st and 10. You
mhm,
hand it off to use check, get some breathing room. I thought some of the play calling on that drive was kind of suspect, but
mhm,
hey, it is what it is. The Niners still came out with a win, but that pick
mhm.
six, yeah, that's all they needed to do is just run it a little bit on that one.
Yeah. Shout out to Cartcast. How are you doing, Cartcast? Hopefully having a good Saturday. Let's go. Get team win for the Niners. All three faces. Yep. Shout out to Cartcast. Bebop Jones says Big Mac is that dude.
Bebop,
Bebop Jones. He's everywhere.
what's up, everybody?
Everyone's in the chat. Everyone said that the ball was tipped in that certain play. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
We talked
I
about
think it was thrown late.
it. What's up, Jesus? Niner gang. Tommy Huxley is making fun of me. He says, "Go Big Blue," because Ohio State and Michigan are playing right now. After this stream, I'll find out who won the game. I've been unable to watch that. Yep. Feliciano doesn't play that well. That's what Tommy says. And then we got Grandizer. Yo, John J. What's up, Grandizer? And of course, Talofa. I'm learning how to pronounce his word. It's Jason. What's up, buddy? Talofa.
Talofa, faithful.
This guy, yeah, this guy's, yeah, he has his own channel also. Like,
Oh,
maybe
all right, cool.
you
Yeah,
can
we'll
reach
have to
out to
subscribe
him,
to
and,
him.
you and him can talk about, good Samoan food. he's part Samoan, he said, or yeah, Tongan, or but he's that Polynesian blood. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And then we got Niner Eddie's in the house. Everyone's saying what's up. Yep. How is it, Tommy? Yep. Everyone is saying what's up in the chat. All right. So before we continue talking more about the 49ers, because we have a lot to talk about, in my channel, I want the fans to know who you are. So, of course, welcome the Big Mac Sports. Let's get to know him a little bit. So, let's talk about yourself and also talk about your YouTube channel. I think people want to know who Big Mac Sports is.
Yeah, man. I grew up in Sacramento, California. Originally from the tiny island kingdom of Tonga. I was born in Vava'u. That's in Hala'ufuli, Vava'u. Some of the players that you see, the Tongan players and Samoan players, they come from the same areas that my family's from. So we came out here. We came out here. I was like 5 years old, 1979. That just tells you how old I am. So when we got here to the Bay Area, watching football for the first time, my brother and I, my older brother, he picked the Raiders. It was the Raiders and a 49er game. I picked the Niners. So I've been a Niners fan since 79. That's how long it's been.
Mhm,
So grew up in Sacramento, played rugby most of my life, and then played a little football, and I played a lot of basketball, and I still play a lot of basketball now. So, um, yeah, from Sacramento. Now we're in St. George, Utah. That's the area where I'm at now, out in southern Utah. It's very nice, very warm sometimes, and it's just a trip away from Las Vegas. So hopefully something good will come of it, and we can take a trip down there this Super Bowl for the Super Bowl,
mhm,
because that's only a 2 hour drive, and it'd be nice to go out there.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so that's how I grew up down in Sacramento. So I do follow the Kings. The Kings is my basketball team, but I started playing basketball because of Michael Jordan,
Mhm,
and that's how I started playing basketball. Um, and then football, I've always followed the Niners, and I always and watching college football. So now it's expanded because a lot of the kids that were kids that I know from church and from family and stuff like that, they're playing in big sports programs right now. We got Utah. I have Sione Vaki. He's playing. He's safety.
Hmm.
playing safety, but they started putting him in as a running back. So he did um, he had a lot of yards against USC that brought them to win that game, and then they beat the Cal Bears where he had over 140 something yards rushing and still played his position as a safety. So we'll see how his career go. Then I have a cousin that's playing for UNLV, and my cousin's younger boy is playing for UNLV. Tommy says the Queens, yeah, and the Queens.
Tommy, you know, he's
Man,
hilarious.
yeah, my cousin always makes fun of me. So he's a big Lakers fan, and he always makes fun of me. He always talks about the Queens, and I said, yeah, if he's the Queens, then why does Shaq? Why does Shaq become a part owner of it? Because Shaq is the one that said that.
Yes.
But
Hey, hey,
I love basketball, so
yeah.
I love watching the NCAA in the tournament because that's when you'll see some of the players play and stuff. I love that time of the year because they come into their own, especially the freshmen and sophomores that play in college. They start, they start just balling, and
Hmm.
so the tournament that's the ones I like, and I don't really like the national championship type of this tournament that they have for football
Hmm.
because a lot of the players that are um, they're worried about getting injured because of
Hmm.
their draft stock. So they don't. A lot of the players that are blue chippers, they don't like playing in those games. But it gives a chance for guys um, that don't have a chance, a real shot,
Hmm.
for those players to sit out, and the other players come in, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's pretty good. He might be a seventh round or fifth rounder and stuff like that." So, yeah, that's what it is. Hey, I did so just to answer Huxley's question on. I
Yeah.
mean, go back to him and the Dubs and stuff like that. So, Golden State before the Sacramento Kings moved to Sacramento, Golden State was my team.
Hmm.
So, and I hated the Lakers, and I always wanted the
Hmm.
Golden State Warriors to beat them. But
Yeah.
then now I'm, when they came to Sacramento, and then I got to actually practice with some of the players from Sacramento. So that's I like the Sacramento Kings for that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I, I can remember, and now I know this is a football show, and we're gonna get back to the football conversation very soon. But I remember when the Kings were better than the Golden State Warriors. Okay, and this is my basketball dollars. They had Mike Bibby.
yep,
Uh, they had Jason Williams. They had Peja Stojakovic, Vladi Divac, and I always forget the fifth guy.
yeah, they had Chris Webber,
Yeah,
um,
and there we go, Chris Webber.
Chris
Webber.
Webber. Yeah, and they actually traded Mike Bibby,
Mhm.
Jason Williams for Mike Bibby, so they swapped them
Mhm.
back in 2001 after
Yeah,
the season.
yeah.
The '01 season. But
Mhm.
yeah, they have some really good players, and I like the players they have right now. I like what they're building. But man, Golden State is still tough, man.
Yep. Yeah.
um,
True, true, true. Yeah. So shout out to Jason. He just subbed to you, Uso. Gotta support the fellow poly content creators. Yep.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. All right. So, of course, it's been a while since we talked. It's literally a long while since we had a conversation. I know you've been watching the football games. I want to get your thoughts quickly before we continue talking more Seattle and 49ers. This season, the 49ers are 8-3. I just want to get a little quick summary about like what are your thoughts on the 49ers? And then you can even talk about Brock Purdy, like because there's still some 49er fans that do not believe in Brock Purdy. So just your thoughts in general this season so far.
I think the season went just exactly what I thought it was going to be. That they were going to be a three-loss team, and they were going to only lose three. And so way back when I was doing I thought Brock Purdy was not going to be doing what he's doing right now. I didn't think that his arm strength was going to be where it needed to be until November. That's where I thought that, hey, his arm strength is going to be there. Of course, he was a good quarterback. We saw that last year, but right now he's playing lights out. And I'm talking about like you look at every single statistic that they have on this kid, and for a second year pro, he's playing lights out. He's playing out of his mind. I mean, that throw that he did where he threw to Brandon Ayuk on that 29-yard pass play, 30-yard and touchdown. Um, that just showed you right there. He's right there to being one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. And I don't care what anybody says. You can just watch the tape. You got to watch the film. Those throws that he's throwing like that, it's just crazy. It's amazing that he can make those throws because of his size and everything. But fact is, he's making them. And I mean, you go back to the one loss. I think the only loss that I think was a real loss was against the Cincinnati Bengals. But then when I watched the Cincinnati Bengals game, I watched that the linemen's butts, however you want to call them, was right in their face. Terradone, what's up, man? Yeah, so I just watched the whole line. As soon as they hiked the ball, that defensive line for Cincinnati pushed those guys' butts right in Purdy's face. So what can you do with that? You can't not do anything with that, really. And the Minnesota Vikings game, he did enough to where they could have won that game. And also against the Browns, it came down to a field goal. And Brock Purdy actually he played pretty good in those games, all three of those games, even though they were losses. And I attribute that to like he was missing some of the players, yes. But I mean, when you're being hurried, I don't care who you are. It's just gonna be you're just gonna be running and trying to throw. But just like Brandon Ayuk said, that was a dot, man. He threw a dot, and I mean, I was wrong. I thought that Purdy was not gonna be this good until late November, where we're at right now. So, and then overall, I think the team is playing just where I expect them to play. But I do wish that they did put some other got some other offensive linemen during the draft. I really did that. They should have addressed that in the draft or another lineman because I think what's happening is right now, and even the last couple of games, Brendel, my gosh, that guy hikes the ball and he's like 6 yards deep into Purdy's face or into Christian McCaffrey's face, and it's just like, what the freak, man! You guys gotta play like you want it, man. I mean, they're getting blasted off the line, but I think overall they're really good. Defensively, they're coming into where um, they're. I mean, even though Hufanga is out, but I think that now I got Tommy just trolling me, man. I think Hufanga being out and everything is still the 49ers are just doing what the Seahawks did a couple of back then. Next man up. And to my Tongan brother right there, my nephew, he got the same injury as Huff the same weekend. It was just crazy. So um, the 49ers right now, I think that they are starting to just show the league that how good they are. I mean, they're freaking good. And I can't wait until next week because we will see a healthy Brock Purdy. But man, that offensive line, I just against superior defensive linemen, it just worries me. It still worries me that offensive line. Outside of Trent Williams, everybody else is just that offensive line still worries me out of
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah, yeah. This year, like the only two games I felt early in the year that we were going to lose was to the Browns, because the Browns they have a good team. It's just Watson, that situation. He's out for the year, but they beat us. We can blame anyone we want on that loss. We lost the game. A loss is a loss, and I felt that we were going to lose to Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow beat us. But the Vikings game, I was a little bit disappointed, and after the game, a few days later, Kyle Shanahan says that Brock Purdy in the fourth quarter played with a concussion, and that's one thing I've always criticized about uh, Kyle Shanahan, like, don't play your injured players, man. If he had a concussion, Sam
Exactly.
Darnold could have just, just cut up for one quarter because you don't want him to get hurt. So I think that game is a bit of an outlier. He still performed pretty well when you look at the numbers, but overall, 8-3, is still a good record. I felt kind of the Niners were going to be around there uh, this season. Now, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game. The 49ers, of course, we destroyed Seattle. Uh, Everyone got to see the Niners eat the turkey on Seattle. A lot of fans wanted us to be in midfield, but we ate the turkey. I don't know if you saw the George Kittle running with the entire turkey. That was so.
Loved it.
But besides all of that, we could talk about George Kittle with the turkey, the 49ers eating turkey. But your thoughts on the game? Your thoughts on the game?
I think they played a pretty good, solid game. Aside from the pick six. So what I okay to me, Christian McCaffrey is a different type of running back. My goodness, I mean, all the little sidestep jukes and stuff like that, like avoiding tacklers. The one play that I think it was like a 13, 14 yard run where Trent Williams came out. He was following Trent Williams. He jumped, stepped back in, and then went back in again to the outside. Um, and Eric Wallace, thank you. So, and then the one that he had that touchdown, the second touchdown where he uh, just jumped step right back in and went right down the middle and ran over two guys to get into the end zone. Man, Christian McCaffrey is it's just he is like a video game. Somebody's playing a video game and using him in all his in all the moves that you see out there in a video game. That's what he's doing. Um, Aside from CMC, all of our playmakers are good, and I think the league should really put Trent Williams in as an MVP candidate because that guy with the offensive line, he is the offensive line. He should be the MVP because man, he goes after everybody, and he's a freaking monster. I mean, 300 something pounds, and he runs like that, and he's agile enough to get out on the edges and just blast people out of the way.
Mhm.
Sometimes he's just looking for people to block because they're like, "Oh, the freight train is coming. I gotta get out of the way." They move out of the way, and he's like, "Hey, who am I supposed to block?" And so he, a lot of times, he's turning around to look for what he should do. But I think he should be in the MVP conversation, definitely.
Mhm.
Uh, but that game showed you that. One of my favorite players
Mhm.
that I wanted them to trade this offseason, but he played really good in the last couple of weeks. I have to give it to Ambry Thomas.
Mhm.
He's starting to play. And I thought that by having Wilkes come in, that Ambry Thomas is going to get some minutes and he's going to be a better player. And obviously, he's showing that. He's showing that he could be a better player under good coaching.
Mhm.
Not that he didn't have good coaching, but under a different coaching philosophy, and I think he's doing good. So, Ambry Thomas, I give him the thumbs up. And when they took out Oliver, I probably could have slam dunked the ball with two hands, standing underneath the hoop when they took him out and switched up the rotation how they had it because that guy was giving up way too many things for us,
Mhm.
way too many, and the result of the defense adding in Chase Young and everybody. Yeah, Oliver just had to sit out, man. He's not right now. He's not a starter. He's not a starter. He shouldn't have been a
Mhm.
starter. They should have had this from the beginning. Um, but they made their changes, and here we are, 8-3, and going into the Eagles game. We just got to stay healthy. The 49ers just got to stay healthy.
Mhm.
So that's all. For me, that the Seahawks game, there were a lot of some. Sometimes they couldn't hear. There were some false starts or some of the flags because they couldn't hear, and that is a hard stadium to play in. But it was a very good Thursday when you saw our players on their 50 9 years later
Mhm.
eating some turkey.
Yes.
And then George Kittle, man, that guy, you just gotta love that kind of type of player. I mean, he takes off with the whole plate of turkey and everything, throwing one up to the stands, just having fun.
Yeah.
I think like people need to realize that sports and everything is it's about having fun. And
Mhm.
George Kittle, man, he's having fun. All the players are having fun, and if they don't win it this year, I don't know. I don't know
Mhm.
what's wrong, but I have a really good feeling about this season and
Mhm.
a good feeling of the end of the year that the 49ers are if they stay healthy, I think they're going to be really good. And so the Seahawks game, offensively and defensively, and special teams.
Mhm.
I mean, what's his name, number 28, that chased down the player, Luter? Hey, he's the rookie too. He
Mhm.
chased him down. If not, they would have been the game would have been closer than what it was. So um, yeah, I thought that the game overall, I would give them an A overall,
Mhm.
or all of them. So that's what I thought about the game.
We got a CG Ruthless. You know him.
What's up, Chris?
He's in the bill. He said, "What's up, John and Mac? Thanks for popping in." Yeah, I wanted to bring up this comment from Grandizer. Yeah, this comment from Grandizer. Um, he says, just because a quarterback may get the label as a system quarterback does not mean it's a negative label. We have had a few system quarterbacks who have played well just as long as they win. And one of the reasons why I want to put this comment up here is I've been listening to a lot of hot takes about the Niners. If they would have had Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, etc., we would have had 3 Super Bowls. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. But I do want to say this. It doesn't matter how people feel about Jimmy Garoppolo, that in 2019, Jimmy numbers were not Patrick Mahomes, number where he had 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns uh, in the past season. But it matters is that how good the quarterback can be. And so you can say whatever you want about Jimmy. It's about a good system that helps the team. And Brock Purdy, let's talk about Brock Purdy for a little bit when it comes to this question. Is Brock Purdy a system quarterback? Well, I can tell you right now, he's not a system quarterback. What he is a guy who can understand Kyle's offense and perform it in the way Kyle wants it. So you can say that's a system quarterback. But when you see him run the football, okay, that's what they wanted Trey Lance to do. Kyle was looking for a quarterback who can do that, and Brock Purdy can run. He can scramble. When the pocket breaks down, he knows how to get away. He uses his feet, and people forget about that. Let's talk about the game against Tampa Bay. Brock Purdy can't throw the deep ball. He threw a 38-yard pass in the air to Brandon Ayuk, and Brandon Ayuk ran the rest of the way. That's not a short pass. In that game, his perfect passer rating, every pass, even the incompletions, was 11 yards per attempt. So if Brock Purdy is a system quarterback, those numbers are like, well, with all due respect, this is a hot take, is better than Patrick Mahomes because he's not doing that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
So Brock Purdy needs to get more respect than he doesn't get. So I wanted to get Grandizer's comment quick.
No, I like to just based on that right there is that um, Brock Purdy. We can look at all the quarterbacks out there, right? So everybody played in a system. Everybody has a system that they learn, but what do they tell people when they're in that system? They tell them, "Hey, if you can make it better than what we got, make it better." And that's exactly what Brock Purdy's doing. He came in, he saw a system, he learned the system, and he makes it better. He makes it better. And I'm not saying that assistant quarterback is a bad label. It's what the media, the national media, is putting out there. Is saying that they're a type of player, a type of quarterback. But I mean, he's the seventh round. He was the last pick in the seventh round, and he is right there. He would be right there, top five. I think Purdy right now, the way he's playing,
Mm-hmm.
he's right there. Him and I think he has I would say Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy are right there, and Mahomes, all three of those guys. Um, the others quarterbacks are really good and everything, but we go based on winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Brock Purdy is the winning quarterback right now. I mean, how many losses have he had? The one loss is in the NFC Championship game last year, and then the three losses that we just saw a month ago. So that's it, four losses. Brock Purdy makes the throws, he
Mm-hmm.
makes it everywhere, and to me, I think he's about 98% healthy with his arm strength. And I kind of like had this thought in my head: what if I did the same procedure and everything on my knees, and I can go back and dunk again?
Mm-hmm.
So that was just that's what I thought. But man, I didn't think that he was going to come back from an injury as serious as this and be playing at the level as a top five quarterback in the
Mm-hmm.
league. And I know there's reports that PFF done is like,
Yeah.
hey, Brock Purdy's number 13 and stuff like that. I don't care about that. I care about the wins and losses
Mm-hmm.
and what he's actually doing for his team. Um, right now, Brock Purdy, what he's doing for the team is heads and above shoulders a lot better than the quarterbacks that are in the NFL. And if
Mm-hmm.
I was to give a award to the best quarterback, it would be to Brock Purdy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when people talk about Brock Purdy the way that they do, and all the players are rallying behind him, and what did McCaffrey say last week about
Oh yeah.
like it's like when people talk bad about Brock Purdy that way, it's just I forget the word that he said that McCaffrey said,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very true, right? It's asinine when people think of Brock Purdy as just a system quarterback. He's
Mm-hmm.
not a system quarterback, um, but he makes the system a lot better the way he plays. That's
Yeah.
where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
So
You actually said it 100%. And of course, while we're talking about Brock Purdy, we're going to talk more about Brock Purdy, and I'm going to bring up some numbers quickly. But one thing I do want to say is when, of course, he had the number one passer rating last week, on the Sunday, not Thursday, but Sunday, and uh, the reporter asked McCaffrey, oh, he had a 100%, passer rating, perfect. And McCaffrey was like, oh, wow, for real? Good. But, and he talked about, the positives about Brock Purdy. And then they said, like, uh, you know, how do you feel about Brock Purdy? He says, like he's a gamer. And then when one of the reporters asked him, what do you think about the criticism that Brock Purdy has you, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and McCaffrey? I don't know if this is the right word, but I think he says that it's delusional for anyone to believe that or doesn't understand the game of football. And so that's what not Brock, what CMC said. He says, like, if you're delusional or you don't know what you're talking about, don't make takes that are not true. And the point of the matter is that when McCaffrey, when you look at him, he's the number one player. Like, that guy could have 2,000 all-purpose yards. I do not know that, but he's a good player. He's going to surpass 20 touchdowns because he has already 11 touchdowns, and I think he has 5 receiving. So he has 16 touchdowns, and there's still, I think, about 6 more games left. He should get 20 touchdowns by the end of the year. And so, of course, when you have a CMC, it's unfair for the other teams, but Brock Purdy can do what he can do, and it's so disgusting how the media continues to say this. And I want to point out this. Even though Brock didn't have a great game, he still had an efficient performance, 70% completion, 21 for 30, only 9 incompletions, 70%. Of course, the interception, everyone's going to talk about that. But overall, he was only sacked once. Once. Okay. Then you go the week before, he had an 84% pass completion, 13.3 yards per pass attempt. Let me say this again. That's last week. All of his passes, basically only 4 incompletions. So the majority of the time, he was throwing about 14-yard plays. Then the Jacksonville Jaguars game, 11.4. And even though Brock Purdy did not play really well against Cincinnati, he averaged 12 yards per pass play. So basically, in the last 4 games, he's been over 70%, and his highest is 84% pass completion. These are the numbers that nobody wants to talk about. Why? Because it does not fit the negative narrative that if you're not a Patrick Mahomes, if you're not Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, you are a horrible quarterback. So that's just the numbers, and fans need to understand. And Brock Purdy's been playing really well.
No, it's true. Brock Purdy's been playing really. He's been playing really great football. Um, so for me to see a lot of, because I mean, when I'm driving work, I'm listening to who's out there talking, and I'm listening to what they're saying and their criticisms. And I mean, even the Jacksonville game afterwards, Shannon Sharp got on and was talking about Brock Purdy, and everybody went back at him and said, "Hey, did you even watch the game? He didn't even watch the game." Yeah. So I mean, for people to say that Brock Purdy, he's having a season. That's all it is. He's having a season. He's doing what a lot of quarterbacks that should have got drafted in the first round are supposed to be doing, and he's doing it. He's doing it, and all of our other players. The one player that I think a lot of people are sleeping on is well, 2 of them right now is Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. A lot of people are kind of sleeping on those 2, and I think that if they keep doing that, they should give them the ball a little bit more, because they're. I just have a feeling that Brandon Ayuk is going to he's having a great season already, but Juwan Jennings, if he continues to play like on that one pass play where he was tackled like 4 yards behind the first yard line, and then he somehow gets 5 yards past that first yard on 3 people on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if the whole team, when they see that, it's just like the same way as Debo, Fred Warner, that kind of energy. That's the kind of energy that the 49ers have right now. And it's for me, looking at the team right now, they are gelling together and playing a really elite style of football right now. And I'm hoping that they sustain this all the way through, because this is a really, really great football team that we're seeing right now.
True, true, true. Yeah, this 49ers team, uh, they're really good. And of course, it's hard for a team to go 17-0. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're going to lose some games in the NFL. Uh, Nothing is for sure. Everyone,
And the season is longer,
yeah,
so
much
it's
longer.
going to be hard to do that.
Yeah. So let's keep moving on, and I want to talk about some players to spotlight. And first, I want to actually 2 players who I felt played pretty good. First is going to be Ambry, and then I'm going to talk about Mooney Ward. But first, uh, Thomas, since he has returned back to the starting lineup, he's been playing really, really well, really, really well. And basically, he held his receiver with 2 catches and 16 yards on 4 targets. He also snagged an interception uh, when he jumped on a route against Tyler Lockett. And of course, Charvarius Ward basically did another good game. People forgot the last last time we played him in Seattle, he played really well against DK. Ward was assigned DK Metcalf for the second consecutive year. He only allowed 14 yards on 6 targets and basically only 14 yards of DK Metcalf. So I want to get your thoughts on the corner situation. And you brought it up earlier about Ambry Thomas. Your thoughts about Ambry Thomas and Mooney Ward.
I think that we have found the two for right now for this season at least the starting catalyst that's going to put this defense at elite, right? It's because if Mooney Ward plays the way he did on Thursday, the rest of the year against the other elite receivers out there, he's had some games where he's given up some stuff. But if he plays like he did on Thursday, it's going to be really hard for the 49ers to lose again this year. It's going to be really hard. And then you throw in Ambry, and I talked about Ambry of how wrong I was on this kid, right? Of how wrong I was that he should have been traded away. I thought that he should have been traded away. Who's number 99? He should have been traded away too. But Ambry is showing that he can play. And I think, like, if you're talking about systems, this would be the system in Wilkes' system that Ambry looks good in. So I think that right now our cornerbacks are starting to solidify themselves of being really good. I'm not going to say that they're extremely good because they're not as good as some of the other cornerbacks are in the league, but we have to do what we have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Players got to play. I've always said this, like, if you are given a chance, even if you lose your starting job, if you're given a chance, show the coaches what you can do, and that goes all the way down from elementary into the pros. You go out and show what you can do, and just by understanding how to play the game and understanding the system that you're in and being able to play. So, and I thought Ambry did really good.
Mm-hmm.
Travaris Ward played lights out on Thursday. I don't care what anybody said. He played lights out. And it's hard to do against a big wide receiver like, what's his name? DK Metcalf. So that was a hard thing to do. So I know there's still some things that a lot of people will say, hey, attack the cornerbacks, attack the cornerbacks. The cornerbacks right now, with the way that our D line is playing and our front seven, hey, attack the cornerbacks because then we'll see a lot more. We'll see a lot more interceptions happen because our defensive line is getting home. Our linebackers are getting home. So that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me say what's up to some new people in the chat. We got Crazy Juice. What's up, buddy? Of course, Tommy's gonna make fun. Hey, go Ohio State. I don't care that we lost. We're going to Rose Bowl. Hey, that's a consolation. Uh, Terra Dome is Michigan. Hey, Ohio State every day. I don't care what anyone says. People, that's my team. Okay. Let's see. Randy says I haven't seen the Brock haters. Yeah, that's good. Even those who don't like Brock are starting to realize, oops, I'm gonna like him. And everyone's telling me about the Ohio State. What's up, Randy? Technically, I'm a T-Rex. I have a university. That's my mascot. All right. Randy is still not a fan of Ambry Thomas. He's not a fan.
But
He's
we
not.
still have to have the guys that we have now. So if they play like they performed on Thursday,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what we got.
Let's see. He also says, I'm not throwing a parade for, he spelled his name, Ambry Thomas for playing with the addition of Chase Young. Well, everyone's playing with the addition, not just Ambry Thomas, Jarvarius Ward, Fred Warner, everyone, not just him.
Well, it elevates the whole defense having Chase there with Bosa each end.
Mhm.
you know what, I was very excited and happy about that trade that they went out and got him for a compensatory pick. So hey, I I'm loving what they're doing now.
Mhm. Shout out to Tommy Huxley. He gave me $2. He says the toilets are frauds. So they had the Lions. He's talking about the Lions. That's his nickname for the Lions. They lost to the Packers. I thought that they were going to win on Thanksgiving. I'm never going to pick the Lions in Thanksgiving ever again. But thank you for the $2 super chat. You didn't have to donate that. Let's see. Ambry Thomas gave up 2 touchdowns in the Tampa Bay game, but Brown bailed the second. Yeah. Anyway, and Ambry Ben Ballin. Terradome says Ambry Ben Ballin.
Preach, preach.
All right, now we're gonna talk about. I saved the best for the game. The defensive line. Oh, we got after Geno Smith. I don't know how many times there was a moment where his helmet came off. Some Seahawks fans said that well, we were dirty. Oh, look what the Niners are trying to break his neck. I'm sorry, your offensive line was not good. Your offensive line was not good.
Hey, if the
So
offensive line would have blocked, they wouldn't have got he wouldn't have gotten hit so hard that his helmet popped off.
yeah, but you you saw the game. The Sacramento guy. What's his name? Armstead. He was just like taking down Geno Smith, and this year he's having a really good year on the sack category. So I want to get your thoughts on the defensive line in general, and what are your thoughts about Armstead? Because a lot of people, even myself, I've been very critical of Eric Armstead.
Eric, you know, I've watched Eric since he was playing basketball back in Sacramento, um, and his older brother playing as well. His two older brothers, but Eric sometimes how do you say it, man? Sometimes it's just sometimes he's kind of like takes his foot off the gas sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes he puts the foot on the gas. I wish he just left his foot on the gas and do what's happening right now. And that defensive line altogether, that group of Young, Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, right there, those four. I mean, golly, who wouldn't give to have those four on their team? And I know there's a lot of our guys that we had on shows and stuff like that are fans of other teams and stuff like that. I mean, what wouldn't the other coaches around the league give to have that front four? It's just crazy that the 49ers have that front four. And, Eric Armstead, he's a big boy. He's what, 6'7", 6'8", 6'7"?
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. And I mean, it's hard to go against guys that big and he's really strong too. I think what's his name? Salah said it before. He said it once. Eric is a very he's a very he's the type of guy that once he claps you with his hands, it's almost over. It's like um he can just smack you with his hands and you're flying different places. So his hand technique, you know what? Actually, if he had the same hand technique that Bosa has, I think that Armstead would be considered a monster in this game because if he had the same hand technique that Bosa had, it'd be lights out. I wish that for the last 45 years, he would have learned some of those techniques, but Eric he's a big dude. He's really strong, and Solid said he's really violent when it comes in the trenches. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see, I even though I like Buckner over Armstead,
Mm-hmm.
but Armstead I can see why they kept Armstead, namely because of financially, and he's a really good player, and our defensive line right now, they are with the addition of Young. what can you ask for?
Hmm.
There's a whole reason why the secondary has been playing a lot better is because of that defensive line.
Yeah,
And then in addition with the linebackers that we have, holy crap, there's just nothing. Um, we have two of the we have the best two linebackers in the league in Warner and why did I just forget his name right now? um,
you
we
talking
have the
about
two,
Trey
yeah,
Greenlaw?
yeah, Greenlaw.
Hmm.
So we have the two best. To me, they're the two best linebackers in the league, and they're sitting right in the middle of that defense for the Niners. So
Hmm.
that's that's why our yeah, it is one of the reasons why our secondary is playing better because it all starts up front. And same thing with the offense. Everything
Yeah,
starts up front, right?
yeah,
The
100.
trenches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100%. The defense is predicated on the front four. Steve Wilkes' defense is more about the secondary being more of a blitzing unit because of how the NFL is played. And I found a stat. It's not a stat, but I found a article when Steve Wilkes was with the Panthers, and a beat writer wrote that because of the way the game has changed, is that quarterbacks are throwing the ball more than running the football. Steve Wilkes has adjusted. So when he came to San Francisco and brought his style, the defense was very like not used to a different style because the way Sala and D'Amico, when we were here, um, we played from the trenches. Now Steve Wilkes has adapted. He still has his style, but we're back at the attacking, and that's why every aspect of the defense is really really good.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to thank you, Big Mac, for popping in. Uh, we got two quick topics. I just want to get your thoughts quickly. Next week's matchups. What are your thoughts on next week's matchups? Do the Niners have a chance?
We have a healthy roster, and I don't think the Eagles have a chance. if I mean, last year, if Brock Purdy would have played in that game, the whole game, I liked our chances a lot better. This year, with the addition that we got on the defensive line, and it's all about the trenches. Even though our offensive line is still not where I want it to be, I don't think the Eagles have a chance. So here's what I'm going to say about the Eagles game. We have to win by we have to have a score of 31, and they're gonna be at like 15 or 16. So right there is my prediction. I'm gonna
Yeah.
come out and say it right now. It's gonna be we need it to be 31 to 15. So
All right. So our final topic is not a topic. Is I want to say thank you, buddy, for hopping on here. I want the fans in the chat to thank our guest today. This was a last minute thing. I did not know he was gonna pop in. He reached out to me last minute, and I said, "Why not?" I've been trying to get this guy in. I'm
for
doing a
sure.
show, and we got it together. It came out really great. I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to give you the final word, buddy. Thank you very much. Let the fans know who you are one more time, where they can find you. And if you have a YouTube channel or any social media, let the fans know so they can follow you. Guys, follow Big Mac, please.
So Big Mac Sports on YouTube. It's same on Twitter and on. So I just have the Instagram one, so that way some of the players can pop on sometimes, and I don't do anything else with that. That's how I got a hold of John Jay.
Mhm.
And then this is something I think we should do this again and keep and do this on the regular. So if John Jay wants to do this on the regular, let's do this on a regular basis. Um, there are times, and so I just need to know times during the week. So I
Mhm.
work from like 7 in the morning to almost 6 at night in the evening. So, but John Jay's schedule and my schedule, so we can do something where we can make it work and do this regularly. And I thank everybody in the chat for tuning in with us, and appreciate John Jay for having me on. Now Let's go Niners.
Yeah, let's go Niners. Go Niners, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy Sunday, even though the Niners are not playing. And thanks, Big Mac, for being on. Appreciate it. But we are out.